Well, today I'm working with the Titanopsis. These are the ones, I believe it was a week or two ago that I repotted, and I put it in the perlite mix, and actually they seem to be doing pretty good. I see a lot of them, the leaves are full, the pot's completely dry, so what I'm going to do is let these go for a bit. If I see any wrinkling on the leaves, or if I think they need water, I can water them. But I'm actually going to do the same thing to a few other species that I have growing. I can actually repot them. This one here, I took out of the seedling tray pretty early. So this is pretty much all I had sprout. There might have been one or two more. I don't believe there was though. But what I was finding, some of these were bigger, and when I was watering them, I'd water them, and next thing you know, I'd have a couple leaves die, which you can see right there. And especially these guys here, they were a lot bigger than they are right now, and I water them, next thing you know, I'd have a couple leaves die. So pretty much I haven't touched them too much. Now if you see the red coloration coming through on this one, usually that's not a good sign. You see some wrinkling on the leaves, which means they probably do need water. Now these guys here are winter growers, and I was kind of just playing around and seeing if I could grow them, but I was still treating them the same way I do my Lithops, which probably isn't really a good thing. Now from what I've read, that as soon as you start seeing the actual true leaves come through, that's when you want to cut back on the water, which I really wasn't. In nature, or in South Africa, they do need a sandy soil with very little substrate in it, which pretty much that's what is growing in now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave a few in here, but I'm actually going to take quite a few and repot them. I'm actually thinking into individual pots so I can give them separate attention and see how that goes. But I think I'm going to stick to the perlite mix. Now for this guy here, because I know there's still seeds in there that haven't sprouted, even though it's already been 7 months, I'm going to take all the plants out, and I'm going to soak it in the same water with the fungicide in it that I'm using for the Haworthias. And the reason I pulled this out early was because I started getting fungus on it, and I didn't want it to kill what seeds and seedlings were popping up. So I'm hoping I can still get a couple more plants out of this dried up pot. Another thing, this guy here, because that's the way I can see him in my setup. I've seen the whole plant. This guy right here, I can see the whole plant was tipping over, and I pretty much assumed either it got pulled out of the soil, or it was just leaves that died and whatnot. But when I turned it around, to my surprise, I actually had a whole another head that was forming. But you can see the dead leaves on it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to repot these guys. I'll leave some in here. But when I do water them, I think I am going to use a tiny bit of the fertilizer in it. I've been using with everything else, and all the seedlings that I've got going right now, I've been putting 1 to 2 drops of fertilizer in my spray bottle. I think there was a couple of days when I first started, I started seeing a difference, and I thought, okay, you know what? It's still diluted, and it's still succulent in cactus fertilizer. I thought, okay, you know what? I'm going to keep at it, and as soon as they get a couple months old, I'll probably cut it back until they change. But I'll get these guys repotted up, and I'll show you. No, I got them all repotted, and actually changed my mind. I repotted them all. I put them all individually. It turned out to be 24 pots. You got some perlite that is at the top. It was actually pretty good until I put the labels in. But what I'm going to do now, the soil and the sand were both damp that I used. So I'm not going to water them, especially just after repotting them too is not good too. But what I'm going to do, keep a close eye on them, and when I do water them, I'm just going to water around the plant, and it should go right down to the roots. Some of them are a good 2.5 inch root system on them, so it should go right down to them, but also it should dry out pretty quick with the rest of the soil being dry. But I'll give you an update later on, and we'll see how they're doing. These guys here I took a picture of when I first did it, and I deleted the picture by accident. So, but I'm judging by this little tiny guy right there. I see growth on them, so I know they like it. But I'll give you an update probably in a couple weeks, maybe a month or two, and see if there's a big difference or not.